right. Friction and smoke. What's going on, girls?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So this is like the estrogen edition, because normally it's Ben and me and
Yeah.
Cassius on the couch, and that's a lot of testosterone.
Yeah.
Now it's just me and Cash. Ben's not here, and there's a whole lot of woman over there.
Well, thank you. That's, I guess, a compliment.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So let's do some quick intros first, because this is a little bit of a one-off for us. My first time interviewing two, and
I don't think we've met, have we?
who, me and you?
Yeah.
No, yeah, maybe.
Okay. You look familiar,
You,
but I just
you acted
wasn't
like
sure.
you knew who I was last night. Wait, isn't that right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there wasn't much talking.
Oh, God.
Is this how you treat all your guests?
Thought I had my
Totally.
AirPods
Okay.
in.
Anyway, so why don't we start over on that side of the couch? And Alaina, will you throw me one of those pillows?
Yeah.
Thank you. I gotta get comfortable.
Cassius
Did
was
he need
yawning. He
anything?
might need a pillow, too.
Yes.
No, he doesn't need one. He's
Oh,
good.
no.
So,
He is a
Alaina,
Hi.
hi. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing here? What's going on?
Wow. Where do I start? Grew up in Seattle, Shoreline, North Seattle. Met this little lady right here when, we were 5, 6?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you were 5, I was 6.
Yeah.
Summertime. Moved across the street. Heard this girl lived across the street.
Well, let's
All
get
right,
into that.
all right,
We'll get
all
into
right.
the origin story in a second.
I don't know what-
You're visiting right now.
I'm
right?
visiting right now. From California.
From California, Newport.
Lived there 19 years now.
19
18
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Just up here for a few days.
Yep. Visiting family.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
And friends.
And friends.
Family
Well,
and
you
friend-
are family.
Yes.
so.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's a good answer. It's
Yeah.
the right answer. So, Alaina. And then my lovely wife, Heidi. I'll let her do a little intro. Heidi.
Yeah, I'm Heidi. I'm Phil's wife. And also from Seattle. I run a business out of my home. I teach Pilates and yoga. And we have this child here, this big nugget,
This big galoot.
this big galoot who's just a little baby.
Big
Yeah, that's
baby.
me.
Well, okay.
That's me.
Yeah, for folks that have watched or listened to previous episodes, Heidi is usually the one that comes in and interrupts the podcast when we're filming.
Oh, yeah.
Either to bring us drinks or just
Or to bring Cassius down.
Cassius down, or to take him away when he's acting crazy. But yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's it. So my wife and my wife's best friend, and also a very good friend of mine. I just spilled kombucha beer on myself. A very good friend of mine.
Yay.
You spilled on yourself? Wow, that's the first time that's ever happened.
It's a shocker, right? So let's talk about the origin story. How did you guys become best friends? How long have you been best friends? How did it start?
Well, my mother loves to tell this story.
She does tell it.
Well,
the
she's
best.
not here, so
And she's
somebody-
told it lots of times. But we basically met in second grade.
The summer before second grade.
summer before
in
second
Seattle. In
Yeah.
Seattle.
No,
Yeah.
but it was during school because it must have been just the end of the year. It was the end of the school year. I think it was in June.
This is how it's going to go. They're going to argue with each other on everything.
Because the way my mom tells the story is that she heard a knock on the door and she opened the door, and standing there, what my mom will say are these two little angels. Which was Alaina and her little sister Karen,
Okay.
and adorable little girls, right? Second graders.
So second
Almost
grade, you're
graders.
what?
And
8 years
pretty
old?
adorable.
Yeah,
7, 8 years
and-
old?
Yeah.
And,
No,
and Alaina said,
I was 6.
Alaina said, "Hi, I'm Heidi's best friend."
No, I'm here to meet my new best friend.
And we
Heidi.
had met that day in school. That's how my mom tells the story. She might be wrong, but that's how she tells it.
So funny. I have
The
such
lack
a
of
different-
clarity in
I
the
have such a
origin story.
different- I mean,
Let's
this
hear
is
your
years
version.
ago.
I want to hear your version.
So we were moving into the house across the street, a house over, and my mom was like, "Oh, there's a girl that goes to your school. She lives across the street. You should go introduce yourself." And me, not being shy whatsoever, grabbed my sister and ran over there immediately and knocked on the door and was, "Hi, I'm here to meet my new best friend Heidi." And of course, Marita answered, and she was so excited. "Oh, hello!" as
Yeah.
Maritha talks. And then
Yes.
Heidi came to the door, and we were inseparable since that day.
Yeah.
We used to walk to and from school every single day for years.
Yeah.
and
Not the
years.
same grade though. One grade
No,
off.
No,
We were
we're
the
same
same
grade.
Oh, you're the same grade. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Gotcha.
Sarah's a year older.
Sarah's Heidi's sister.
Heidi's sister.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my sister's 2 years younger. But we were all really close. We all
Yeah.
spent days on end
Together.
together.
Yeah.
Friends become family.
Yeah. So we've been friends now for 34 years.
Yep.
34 years.
Yeah. Yeah, about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
34 years.
Yeah.
And always friends consistently through this whole time, or is there ever times where you guys were kind of going your own way? And
There
Were times.
There were times.
In high school.
In high school.
Yeah, we kind of broke off and had different groups of friends, but we always remained friends. There was never a time where we weren't. We just weren't as
We weren't hanging out consistently.
right.
There was a few years in high school.
was there extra? So your friends hanging out, also classmates. Did you guys do any sports or any activities together outside of school?
We were both cheerleaders.
Yeah.
In high school again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only one we did together. I did other sports, but Alaina and she danced. She did other sports too. She was an amazing dancer, but
Yeah, I was at the studio. pretty
but
much
we
every
did the only one that we did together was cheerleading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did you guys do any when you were little? Any travels? Any like joint family trips? Anything, or was it all basically in the
No.
neighborhood?
Never
it-
joint family. It was mostly me
We
joining
just-
the Meyerholtz family.
yeah, she was just at our house every day, basically.
Yeah, I was at her house probably a lot
Yeah.
more than I was.
Yeah, and I remember going to Elena's house too and spending the night. One of my favorite memories from Alaina was birthdays at Elena's house, because Elena's mom, who I love, whenever it was someone's birthday, we'd have our sleepover,
Okay.
and then we would be woken up at like the crack of dawn to "They Say It's Your Birthday."
Oh my gosh,
Dun-dun-dun. You know
the
the
Beatles,
Beatles
that was
song.
our
the
I
birthday
do
song?
remember. I know the
And
Beatles
she
song.
would
Family
play it like
tradition.
she like blasted it like so loud, like the whole neighborhood could hear it. And she ran into our room. She'd wake us up, get us rustled up, like start jumping on the bed, and then we'd start sprinting around the house like singing the song. So that's a really fun memory I have from
sounds like
Elena's
an awful
mom,
way
because
to
it
wake
happened.
up.
We did it every year.
We
She
still
did,
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We share a love for the Beatles, Elena.
We
and I,
do.
so-
Oh, very much
Yeah.
so.
Was that influenced by Steve, or just Steve is Heidi's
Both
dad?
both our dads.
Both our dads were classic rock fans, but my dad, they both had huge collections, and I used to go steal my dad's CDs and listen to them. And
We would sit. I remember one time we wanted to learn the song Obladi Oblada. So we literally sat with the lyrics and listened to it over and over and over and over again until we actually knew every
Memorized it.
single. We
Yeah.
like memorized it. We would
Yeah.
sit there for the entire time until we knew it, front to back.
Front to back.
Yeah. The White Album, that was a big one for us.
yeah.
So did you guys were on the same street? I can't remember, or a street.
We were kitty like across the street from each
Okay.
other, like diagonally.
Corner. Yeah.
So she was on a corner, and I was a couple houses down across the street.
So when did you guys start sneaking out and hang out with boys? Because I know that shit went down, right?
Not really.
No?
Like
We were pretty
of
good.
squares.
We were pretty good kids. I did.
was not a square. Thank you very much.
I know you're not. I know.
We were pretty good kids. I didn't. I would
We
sneak
were.
in. I would sneak in past curfew all the time, and my parents trusted me, so they never waited
Questioned. Mine did.
up.
It wasn't. I think I snuck out like once in high school. It was after a dance. I think I had a ridiculous curfew, so I came home and then snuck back out.
Yeah.
But that was high school. That was a long time later.
Yeah. The only time I really got busted was when I loaned a certain friend of ours who will remain nameless my car, and he crashed it drunk.
Oh,
and
I
then
remember this.
and then I walked home from the party where the party was. I spent the night. It was another friend of ours, Rebecca, who lived 2 blocks away. And I walked home, and my car was in the driveway, totaled, and my dad was standing in the doorway with his arms crossed. And
So you walked
I
home from the party and the
started
wrecked car
shaking.
was already there?
The wrecked car was. I had no idea what had happened. I passed out at the party.
Yeah.
This friend that I loaned the car to had crashed it in the middle of the night.
Okay.
So,
I
and
wasn't-
then he, of course, found like a receipt for beer in the car, and
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Your dad found the
My
receipt
dad
for
found a
beer.
receipt for beer in the car.
How did you
But
score?
I mean,
God.
I don't know if the receipt for beer or the totaled car was
Affiliates.
worse.
They probably related.
But they were probably, yeah. So that was the only time I really got busted. But it really wasn't my fault because I trusted this friend of ours that failed me.
It actually was not her fault whatsoever.
But you loaned this goofball your
It's
car.
my fault for allowing him to drive my car, yes.
Yeah. What was the?
But in her defense, she was actually very hesitant about even loaning the car.
and then
he was swearing to me
"Come
over and
on,
over.
Yeah,
come
he-
on."
And he's like,
was
I'm
very
just taking
persuasive.
so-and-so home. I'm totally sober. You know, he
Yeah.
pleaded with me.
I
And
see.
Heidi.
I was not so sober. So I, at that point. So, yeah, I'm definitely am not putting blame. I do accept full responsibility for my part in that whole fiasco.
Listen, I wasn't there. I believe whatever you want to tell me, I'll believe because you're my wife and I just got to believe it. But
Yeah.
there you go.
I know when you're lying.
Wow, that was a really mean look you just gave me, everybody. Everybody who's just listening and not seeing the screen, maybe turn it on for a second. Just check this out.
So what else? So was there any critical, any fun, pivotal moments that you guys remember as friends that brought you closer? I know there was the birthday stuff.
There's
There
too
was
many.
Too many.
You can't even.
Give me one or two more favorites.
Well, this isn't really a favorite, but this was when we were much younger.
Okay.
Well, there's two things actually I'm thinking of. One is where we actually saved a woman who was being held up at gunpoint. Remember?
So keep going.
Do you remember? Your dad called 911. We saw
Into
a
the
woman,
mic, Heidi.
We saw. We lived on the corner, and we would always sit out there and like watch cars go by. And the other story I was going to tell is that Alaina liked to moon cars.
Okay, well
that we
let's
drove by.
do that in a second. So I want to hear about this
But-
life-saving Crime Stoppers moment.
Yeah, we were. Alaina's house is on a corner, so 160th is kind of a slightly busier street than 34th
Yeah.
that we grew up on. And there was a couple kind of rentals across the street there that were a little shadier type rentals. And we were sitting out there on the lawn, and we saw a woman.
Just like middle of the day.
Yeah, it was middle of the day.
It was.
And we saw a woman barefoot. She was in a very short skirt. I remember her having a mini skirt on, and I remember her having no shoes on, and she was walking in gravel. And right behind her, a man was walking, and he was pressed up right against her, and she was kind of stumbling and looked really uncomfortable. And he was actually holding a gun to her back.
What?
And walking her
Not
up the,
believe I
walking
forgot
her
about this.
walking her up the
Yeah.
street. And we were in we were in third grade or something,
Yeah,
right?
we were
Holy
young.
shit.
Yeah.
We were really little, and so we tried not to like react too much.
Did he see
But
you?
I don't think
I don't think so.
he might have seen us, but I don't know if he saw us see them.
Right.
But I remember him being in a leather jacket, and I remember her not wearing that much clothing. I mean, and so we were like, we watched for a second, and we were like, something is not right here. This girl looks like she's terrified, right? And I don't remember actually seeing a gun, but the way he was holding her and the way she was walking, it and how close they were, like,
Yeah, we knew something was
it
off.
seemed obvious he either had a knife or a gun to her back.
Well, and kids are sensitive too. You pick up on weird energy.
Yeah,
like that.
and so we ran inside and told Alaina's dad, and he called 911, and they came and arrested the guy.
Holy shit! Did you see the guy get thrown in the back of the car?
I don't remember seeing that part of it, but I remember Alaina's dad telling us that the guy had gotten arrested.
I think that they were down a couple blocks.
Yeah.
like,
I don't remember
Lita's-
seeing-
I think they were
yeah.
towards Lita's house, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they were. So that was in our little suburban neighborhood, you know.
We
guys-
got
But we
we
might
got
have-
flashed one time too. Do you remember that?
Oh,
do.
by a man.
Yeah.
A grown.
We were sitting in her front yard, which we never did.
Yeah, I do
ever.
remember that.
And
It
we're
seems
just
like
sitting there,
in the
just
front
like
yard was a bad deal though, because that's where you saw
the backyard is where it was all at. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where all the fun stuff
was.
was.
Yep.
But we were randomly sitting in the front yard, and some guy pulled up in like a silver Chrysler or something, and like literally like opened the door and like
I remember that.
like opened his trench coat. It was like textbook, like just opened his trench coat, and we both just like jaws dropped to the ground, and then we both started screaming, and he closed the door and took off. It was mortifying.
straight up trench coat.
Yeah.
Speaking of flashing, though, Alaina used to moon people.
Okay,
Yeah.
why do we need
Let's hear that. And I'm
drawers
gonna adjust
down,
I'm gonna
but
adjust
in the
this
air.
camera just a little bit because Elena's a little out of frame. Let me fix that. But you guys tell me the story while I do this.
Well, we had a babysitter, Sharon, that used to babysit us.
She taunted me to do that.
And Alaina would, and granted, this is a child doing this, right? Like, probably not the best idea, especially if it's a flasher driving by who's going to be turned on by it. But yeah, Alaina would full on pants down, lean over, butt straight up in the air, and then just laugh hysterically.
I was dared to do this though. It was.
It sounds like you did it more than once, though,
She did do it
Alaina.
more than once.
It may or may not have happened more than once.
Well, this is the same girl who peed in the fountain in the Bellagio
Kate,
Hotel in Las
why?
Vegas.
That was my bachelorette party. Just to be clear.
She's the wild one
These
if
are-
anyone's getting the whole grip of the whole situation here.
Well, actually, I remember last time I was in Newport, Alaina, we came out of a bar and you sat over the edge of something, and I said, "What are you doing?" And you said, "You're peeing," but you looked like you're just chilling.
You know, I really have a small bladder, and when you gotta go, you gotta go, and it's just nature.
But I mean, it was like some secret squirrel incognito, like
Yeah.
ninja shit that I'd never seen
Oh,
before.
I've seen her pee behind parked cars. I've seen her. I mean, she just drops trow
The
wherever.
the fountain story that Heidi's speaking of in Vegas in Bellagio, it wasn't Bellagio, but it was just this round fountain at the bottom of the escalator.
oh, I thought.
Oh, it was indoor?
It was outdoor.
Okay.
I just had a really high miniskirt, so I just sat on the fountain and just hiked up my miniskirt.
Unfucking believable.
And you
cop
forgot
came
about
and
this.
talked to you.
Yeah, a policeman came and talked to me. He was flirting with me while I'm literally peeing in the
And he didn't know
fountain.
she
He
was
had no
peeing.
idea.
So you're peeing in. Do you? Okay, I just want to understand the mechanics.
Can't believe I'm
Underwear
talking
or not
about this right
underwear? Like, with a short skirt,
Oh no, I had underwear on.
but you're able to
Pulls
maneuver.
it to the side and
God,
just
it's
slide that
just-
thing over.
Jesus Christ, you guys are innovative.
Mad skills.
Innovative.
Yeah. Well,
So you're peeing. You're at your bachelorette party.
I cannot believe we're having
You
this
are sitting on.
conversation.
I'm just trying to make sure I get the details here. You're sitting on the
just
edge
unnecessary.
of a fountain, a beautiful crystal
Where
clear.
people throw their dreams, their
They-
pennies,
their
and their
pennies and their
biggest
dreams and
wishes.
their-
I'm just peeing all over.
And she's
But
just
maybe somebody earlier had wished. I just wish some tramp would come and piss in this fountain. That turned me on. Turned me on like nothing.
Well, their
Lord.
wish did not come true because she's not a tramp. So
Oh, it's-
correct you
No.
on that one.
fair enough.
Thank you. Thank
Fair
you,
enough.
Heidi.
Ooh.
Good looking out.
Good looking out. And then a police officer was talking to you, flirting with you,
me. Mm-hmm.
while
Yeah.
you were peeing into
Urinating in.
For those of you
the
not
fountain.
watching the podcast, Elena's very beautiful, so you could turn.
Oh,
it on
you
to see-
you're both lovely.
You're too much. You're
You're both lovely. Both
Well,
lovely
I would
little
say
girls.
this whole storyline kind of leads me like I think one significant thing from when we were younger is the fact that I was extremely shy.
extremely shy.
Like almost shy to the point of like just I don't know. It was bad. I couldn't talk to any boys. I had very few friends. I had a few close friends, but I was very introverted and extremely shy, and I was very self-conscious of how shy I was. And Alaina, my best friend, was the opposite. She was so outgoing. She always had so many friends. She was never afraid to do anything. So she really kind of helped me
come out of her shell.
come out of my shell. We actually like made a pact and put
Yeah,
it in
you
a
guys had
Snapple
like
we,
bottle.
we have it in writing.
We have it in
a
writing.
Snapple pack.
I think we
remember.
were in 7th grade when we like wrote the pact out, but it was like by the time we're in high school, you will have made me not shy. And I think I agreed to like do whatever she said and like all the like signed my life away
Yes.
to this crazy girl who
No, I take care of you.
but she does. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely had some crazy times. I think that the day I got my driver's
I
license
was
is
just.
another
I literally was
Oh,
just
yeah,
going
let's
to
hear-
say.
let's
this
hear
is-
about that one.
This is another good story.
I think I remember this one, but I think other people should.
Well, so
So you're 16.
I'm 16.
Yeah.
Just a fresh as a newborn.
She
right?
had literally gotten her license
That day.
This
That
very
day.
day.
That
It was
very
a
day.
Friday, wasn't it, or a Saturday?
I think it was a Friday because there was that party
We
at
had a-
Joy's house. That
We had a
night or
cheer.
something.
We had a cheer slumber party.
Okay.
So we made up a story that we couldn't spend the night because we were like going camping the next day or something. So
Because
I
you
can't
didn't want to.
remember what
You
the
wanted to
story
bail
was.
on the slumber party.
we wanted to go drive the car.
I see.
We wanted to go joyriding.
What
We
kind
wanted-
of car was it?
Oh man,
And
it
you-
was a Chevrolet.
Okay.
It was a silver Chevrolet.
Was it one of the slant back jobs?
No, it was
like
the
the
boxy.
boxy kind.
Oh,
yeah,
like a
an 80.
It was. We called it the Chevy. It was.
Yeah,
it
it was
was.
the
It was.
Chevy.
It was a
but it was
Chevrolet.
super boxy, ugly, silver
Ugly.
Chevy
Yeah.
4-door or 2?
Four-door.
Okay.
4-door.
Like cloth seats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'll remember then. I think I know what you're talking about.
We did ridiculous things, like we stopped at 7-Eleven and got a full 2-liter Mountain Dew,
because
and,
that
started
works.
chugging,
That would work well with Elena's bladder.
started chugging the Mountain Dew because we wanted to be all
Oh,
caffeinated.
let me tell you how many stops we made just to go.
Yeah, because Alaina, it seems like you in a big gulp. It would be like every.
And we were
mile.
we went to Golden Gardens. We went here. We went
We
there.
just were determined to stay up all night driving around.
And we were driving down Aurora Avenue, which
Okay.
in Seattle is, now famous for, some shady characters.
That's where you get your crack cocaine and your prostitutes, right?
pretty much, yeah.
But we were driving down Aurora Avenue, and it's a summer day. It was hot out. It was light
It
out
was
still
August,
because
so,
it was
yeah.
late, the sun was still out. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're driving, and we just see on the side of the road there's this shirtless, very attractive man.
Very attractive.
Very attractive. On a 1 to 10.
He's
like a
his
dime.
body was a 10.
Well, given our age, to us then, he was probably a good 9.
He's like a dime
we were
piece.
16. He was probably 23.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Was he like David Cassidy hot?
But he was
Like a young
He
George
was
Michael hot?
tan and
tan, very defined,
Yeah.
shirtless. But he was also carrying a bag of golf clubs, which in
just one golf club. It was one.
oh, it was one.
It was
He had a
just
single golf club.
single
Which in
golf club
retrospect,
and a backpack.
which in retrospect, I think about. Well, he could have clubbed us to death with that golf club,
Right.
right?
we actually discussed it before.
But he had his thumb. He was hitchhiking.
Okay.
So
So
we're driving down Aurora. This is I literally drove off the lot a few hours ago. Got my license for the very first time.
Literally hours.
And we look at each other and we're like, oh my God, do you see that guy? Oh my God, do you see the guy? Alaina, let's pick him up. Let's pick him up. Of course, she's the one who says, let's pick him up.
I have to take a side note. Heidi is the first guest I've had that I've actually had to turn the mic down on, which I love.
You were the one making me nervous about how close it was to my face.
I just turned you, but no, it's great.
Should I put it
No,
further?
you're good.
talking
You're
about
good.
this earlier,
You get
Phil.
excited.
It's so
You get
funny.
excited.
I do.
love it.
get excited.
I just like my mom.
It's very
I
excitable,
talk too
and
loud.
and
That's okay.
what's nice about excitement is it doesn't compartmentalize. So you get excited in other aspects of life and our relationship, which is very nice.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all.
There you go.
Okay, back on track. Read into that what you will.
Think on that.
Think on that for a minute. Okay, so
Back to the story.
hot guy in his
Phil is
20s.
Alaina, let's pick him up. I'm like, oh my God, should we? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Here's two 16-year-old girls.
We're all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Have literally yesterday I was still driver's permit
Sure.
material, right?
Right.
I've just gotten my license. We pull over. So where are you going? And he's like, oh, I'm literally just trying to get to a bus stop, which is a few miles down the road, but it's hot out. I've got this golf club,
I'm
whatever.
sweaty. I'm shirtless.
We're like, hop in. He gets into the back of the car. We're driving less than 10 minutes.
Oh.
So wait, hold on.
But-
strange dude in the back of your car with a golf club.
In my mom's car.
Your
And a
mom's car.
backpack.
And a backpack.
Yeah.
A backpack, a golf club, no shirt.
No shirt. Got it.
Older than us, right?
Older than you.
We're driving not even 10 minutes. I'm nervous. I'm trying to look back and have conversation. The whole shy thing and everything,
Yeah.
right?
She's doing really well at this point.
Yeah.
though.
So
she was adhering to the pack.
So we're in Aurora's kind of a busy street, blah blah blah. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, talking this, and all of a sudden, bam! I rear end the fucking car in front of me. It's a minivan. I rear end this minivan. I immediately started crying. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? My mom's gonna.
I also don't have a license,
She's
I did not know
she's
what to
also
do.
like, oh my God, because
Like,
she actually got your license later. You
When
didn't
I
get
was
it
17,
When she
yeah,
was
when I got
17,
my
she got hers, so she
Yeah.
didn't have a license yet. I'm like shaking. This hitchhiker who maybe could have killed us instead reacts like that.
Literally,
jumps out of the
I'll
car.
take care of it. I got this.
He jumps out of the car. He runs up to the people. They're talking. Oh, they're looking. Oh, well, it doesn't look like there's any damage on your car. I think we're good. Completely charismas his way. Sweet talks us out of it. He gets back in the car. He's like, we're good.
We're good.
I didn't have to give any sort of information. Nothing. And then we drove him another 10 minutes and dropped him off.
At the bus stop?
We dropped him off at the bus stop.
Yeah.
Bus stop. This is funny because it was a week later, and I'm sitting in the kitchen with my mom. And
I
our
was there.
kitchen-
I was there too. We're
Our
sitting.
kitchen looks right out onto the driveway, so where the car pulls in.
Manita was doing the dishes,
Yeah,
and
she was
Heidi
doing
and
the
I were
dishes.
sitting at the dining table. And
She's doing the dishes, and she's like, she's looking out into the driveway, and she's like, huh. I never noticed that dent in my license plate. She's like, how did that dent get there? And I was like,
Heidi and I look at each
a
other
parked,
like,
someone must have just bumped into it when your car was parked somewhere,
do your
Mom.
parents know about this story, by the way?
They're gonna now.
I don't think we ever told them.
Oh,
don't think we ever
they're
told
gonna
them.
know now.
But so
Ugh.
again, we
They would've killed
came
us.
away scot-free, but in retrospect, it was probably not the smartest move to.
No,
It was all
not
good
one of our
fun.
wise.
But
wiser
if
moments.
he hadn't have been in the car,
we wouldn't have known what to do.
we wouldn't have known what to do. But granted, if he hadn't been in the car, we
You probably
probably
wouldn't have.
would have rear-ended
You would have
somebody.
been focused on your Mountain Dew and your driving and your whole thing.
I did spill a whole 2-liter of Mountain Dew also in the car.
Same,
Remember that?
Same
I
trip.
do.
Or,
She spilled the whole. She decides that shaking it up's a good idea, so she shakes it up. Shakes
that
it up,
what
shakes it
happened?
up.
I don't
yeah, you
remember
started
that.
shaking it.
in like the big gulp cup with the flimsy top and the whole.
No,
thing?
it was like an actual
a
like
big
2-liter.
2-liter.
We bought we bought 2 of
I
them.
gotcha.
Two
One per
liters.
person.
Chugging
gotcha.
it. We were chugging it.
We were
But
just determined to drive all night
shaking
long.
it up, yeah, that doesn't seem like the smartest thing.
No,
I don't remember that I
Exactly.
shook
Well,
it. I
yeah,
think
you
I
did.
just like
maybe it was rolling around in the back seat.
no, it was rolling around. It was in the
I
front
thought I remember you
seat. I
shaking
did
it.
not
It
shake
seems
it.
like
I'm
something
not
you'd
that
do.
stupid.
Well,
Oh, well.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so we had the hitchhiker story. That's interesting, and the loaning your car out story, and that works. And then you guys, I feel like we kind of got through childhood, got into high school, got out of high school, and then didn't you guys end up? Well, how did you guys end up in California together? Which Alaina stayed, right?
well,
Oh.
So
There was a lot leading up to that
There's a
too.
lot leading up to that.
Well, so going back on the whole Snapple bottle thing, we, for some reason, when we were younger, determined to move to California
Okay.
together.
together.
We said
And-
that was one of the
that was one of our
promises
contracts
and contracts
that-
along with the shy thing. Yeah,
Right. We'd go to California
That we would live
by
until it-
such and such date. And so fast forward, Heidi and I ended up living together during college, and then after college, well, not really after, but we lived a couple different places together.
Not after, because I moved to California.
Because
while I was still
that's
in
right.
college.
Yeah. So yeah, we lived in a few places in Seattle together.
Yep.
Yeah, because you guys were telling me. Well, you told me that Heidi, you were never in the Greek system, right, Alaina?
No, because I
She
went to
went to-
art
she
school.
went to
I didn't go
Cornish
to
for
Cornish.
dance.
Yeah.
You went right out of school, right out of high school. You went to Cornish for
Right.
dance.
right.
And then at the same time, out of school, you went right to UW,
I went to UW. Yeah.
University of Washington.
Yes,
for
I
our-
went to-
for
I
our
went to-
program.
And they're close too. They're not.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not far from each other.
Cornish is right up
so-
the hill, right?
It's right off Broadway.
Yeah.
In
And
Capitol Hill.
my sister was a year older, and so she also went to UW because my parents didn't really give us a choice. They couldn't afford out-of-state schools.
Yeah.
I wanted to go out-of-state, but we couldn't afford it.
Well,
I
back
mean, I
then-
had a job since I was 15. I had to pay for my own, books and living and all that stuff. So we really didn't have the option to go out of state. So
Yeah.
we both got good grades and we were both really smart. So I literally only applied to UW. Like,
Did you get a scholarship, or was it
assuming-
just?
No, but I got in.
But it was way cheaper because I went to UW too. It was way cheaper back then.
It was way cheaper back then.
for in-state residents.
Yeah, and I, my sister was a year ahead, and she was a tried out in the Greek system, and so I figured, I was like, well, it'd be a good way to meet people new to college. I was like happy to get out of my parents' place, but I joined a sorority, and it was not
Is
for
the
me.
tryouts the same as the Delta?
Delta,
Yeah.
can I help you?
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
But anyway, I
So
made it.
not Heidi.
I made it. I made it 3/4. I didn't even make it a full year, and I dropped out. And they were like, if you drop out, we're gonna take your pin from you. And I was like,
God, no.
I was like, oh no. I was like, dude, this is not my jam. I'm out. Like, there was too many rules and regulations, and it was too many women. I'm kind of alone.
yeah.
I'm just introverted. It was. My boyfriend at the time was in Bellingham at Western, and I was traveling up there a lot. So I dropped out. I was a sorority girl dropout, and so Alaina and I got a place together.
So let's talk about the sorority thing for just a second, because I always think that it's so fascinating. And I went to University of Washington. I did not do the Greek system, but I had several friends in frats, and it seemed like this cross between like this devout brotherhood, and then this like I will fuck your girlfriend when you're not looking and get super drunk and puke all over your shit. Like it was that kind of contrast in the fraternities.
The whole fraternity culture disgusted me so much. Like
It's so gnarly.
I just like seeing these poor like freshman kids like being like forced to like drink like twice their weight in beer and like vomit and all this stuff. Like I couldn't get behind that, so I didn't really enjoy going to the parties. And then the whole girl, it was so like catty and drama. And Alaina will tell you, like, I avoid drama like the plague. I am not someone who likes cattiness or drama.
Neither one of us.
I just, you know, it was too many women for me. Like I didn't have enough privacy.
Neither one of us like to be in a big group of women.
And I also don't like being told when I have to do things. Like I got really good grades in college. Like they had study hour. I had to do wake up duty. There was all these rules and restrictions, and I'm like, I just moved out of my parents' house. Like I'm ready to like do what the fuck I want to do. I don't want a bunch of rules put on me now too. So I was like, I just want to get my own
fucking
apartment.
Miserable, honestly.
Yeah, and I was so much happier once I moved in with Alaina. Because we just got to do whatever we wanted. You know, we got to like be ourselves.
That was after I actually spent a summer at a fraternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was it?
Oh my God.
So dirty, right? Like
so much fun.
I know. Cuz these guys
these guys are my like brothers from high school. So it was free rent, free booze and extracurricular.
Yeah, because they'll like for the summers, you know, a lot of the frat boys go home, but then some of them will stay, and then they'll rent out rooms
to the sorority girls too. Yeah. But I was the only girl that had her own room, and I didn't pay.
That's why they just had a COVID breakout in actually on Greek Row.
Oh,
like
really?
This week, yeah, because of the summer rental thing, and just partying and nobody wearing their mask or whatever the fuck. So they just had UW's now like a hot spot for COVID.
I can imagine.
So, you know how it is.
Crazy.
So you guys ended up in an apartment like University District, which was actually a pretty cool.
Yeah, on Brooklyn Avenue.
Brooklyn Avenue. Yeah, it was. It was a really cool spot.
Our first apartment together was tiny. Like my bedroom.
But there's like clubs and cheap food and like it was a good area back then.
She got the like master bedroom. Like we had one bathroom in our apartment, and it was
was in my
her
room.
Yep.
So when I had to go to the bathroom, I had to like go in her room, and like she started dating this guy that she was like obsessed with at the time, Ryan, and like I had to like interrupt their sex every time I had to like go time I had to like brush my teeth or like go pee. I had to like walk in on them having sex. My bedroom was like the size of a closet, and I personally took the smaller room because I was driving up to Bellingham to see my boyfriend often. So
her room was like the size of a closet.
It was literally like a twin bed fit in there and nothing else. Like I had like 2 inches of space on either side of the twin bed. Like I couldn't really walk. Like it was ridiculous.
Was it like the closet they used to sleep in your Pilates studio, smaller or about same size?
It was smaller than that.
Holy moly!
It was about half the size of that.
What did we pay? Like $700 or something.
We paid
like that?
it
was stupid
really
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even for then, it was cheap.
Nice.
But we loved it. It was like our little.
Yeah.
We did cat.
We did.
Did you have a cat?
Yeah, that was Mia. Remember Mia?
Nice.
No. Mia. Mark got for me when we lived in California. Alaina.
No, you remember?
Mia gifted me Mark.
I love it when you guys are.
I have a no.
Mia, we did not have because I didn't take her down there. I got
no. Do you remember it was Mia because we named her Mrs. Mia Wallace, because and we had a fish and it was Vincent. The fish was Vincent.
Your dog you named Vinny in California.
Yeah, but our fish was Vincent.
And I
first.
named my cat Mia.
See, we could do this for hours.
I know this.
No, but I seriously.
I have pictures.
Mark bought me Mia when she was a kitten when we lived in California.
I think that was a
and
different
then I traveled.
cat.
No, I've had 2 cats. I've had Smokey and I've had Mia. We did not have a cat in that place.
So you guys did or you didn't have it?
We did not have a cat.
There was maybe a cat, maybe there wasn't. Let's just call it. We'll call it.
Mia we got in when we moved to California.
This is one of those best friends agree to disagree. I don't know who I believe though. You're both pretty convinced of your argument.
I'm positive that I didn't have Mia
Let me ask
California.
you guys this, just in general, in situations like this where there's an absolute disagreement, who usually gives in first?
I don't think either.
Do.
I don't know if either. Yeah, maybe.
Because she loves to debate and she won't stop.
I just know that this is for a fact is not the case because Mark bought me her as a kitten,
right,
and you had Vinny, your dog Vinny, that you gave to Karen, and he was Vincent, and that was Mia.
She would
Yeah,
rather.
I
She would
don't. I
rather.
didn't. We didn't have a cat in
She would
Brooklyn.
rather
I
be
was going
right
up to Bellingham all
than
the time.
as
We didn't
this
have a cat in
best
that house.
friendship is falling apart at the seams.
I'm
She'd
just.
rather-
I'm just more
Never.
than. I'm just more than 100% certain of this.
Okay,
but
then
we can move on.
She's probably right then.
We'll just let her have this.
See what
one.
I mean?
Yeah. Just,
Well, don't make me sound. It's the truth.
listen,
I'm not.
We're not
no,
making you
you-
sound
you
anyway.
probably-
We're
you
just.
probably
You're
are.
probably correct.
Heidi,
If
you're
I
probably
remember
right.
something wrong, I'll admit
We
it.
did smoke a lot of weed back then, so she's probably right.
Mia was. Yeah, we did have Mia, but it was at another place we lived.
Was
together.
that the one on
Placentia.
Placentia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was there? There was a
she's probably
street
right.
named Placenta. Placenta.
Placentia.
It's Placentia
Jesus Christ. Where was this? In
in
California?
California.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like a terrible street name. Even if you're saying Placentia, it's still way too
It
close to
is.
placenta. No? Right?
No, it is. It's very way too much.
Plus, yeah.
Placentia. I like to call it Placentia.
Yeah. I get it. I get that it's the whole
It was a weird. I
Hispanic.
always thought it was a weird street
Yeah.
name, so I'm with you on that.
placenta.
I
It's
think
like,
I lived in like 3 different places on
it's like
Placentia,
living on
too.
the street called Penice. No, it looks like penis. No, Penice. It's French. It's,
You're right.
right.
Fragile.
Fragile.
Must be
So
Italian.
anyway,
But then we lived there for a while, and then we moved into the place on Lake City Way with Lita. Remember?
Yeah, that was the last place we lived.
That was
together.
the last place we lived together because that's when I moved to California.
That's when
we lived there.
she left in the middle of the night.
left in the middle.
I left
of
at
the
like
She
6
did.
a.m. and I left no.
She
Well,
left a
so here's the
note.
deal. Here's the deal. I
I have to pee. I'll be right back.
Oh boy,
I told you.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, her bladders. We both have small bladders, but she's like twice as bad.
Just hang it over the side of the couch there, Alaina, like you did in Vegas. Just
Oh
no,
yeah.
don't do that.
No, don't do that. Because Heidi will have to clean it up. Hey, she's your friend. Don't
Ain't
look.
that the truth? Who cleans everything up in this house? Oh, it's so
Listen.
Fuck you, by the way, for bringing it up.
No, so I will explain this part of the story while she's in the bathroom because
Okay.
So I majored in journalism and I minored in drama at UW. But my dream since I was a little girl was to be a movie star. I wanted to be a famous actress.
And which
It's all I
actress?
ever-
Which
it's
actress
all I
was
ever
the one
thought
that you
about.
would look at? Which was the one you would look at and be like, I want to be just like.
I didn't really look at a particular actress. That's what I wanted to do. I loved putting on plays. I loved writing short stories when I was little. I loved putting on like little plays and like making up songs and stories and all this stuff. Like I would in my free time just write little screenplays or write short stories. And I loved to act. I was super shy when it came to being me.
Yep.
But when I could hide behind a character, that was the only way I could express myself because no one knew it was me. So I was able to hide behind the character and I was able to get out everything that I couldn't get out because of my shyness.
I gotcha.
So acting actually was extremely therapeutic for me in that sense of allowing me to express my feelings without people knowing that it was actually me expressing my feelings.
It was like a continuation of the Snapple Pact.
Yeah, I was expressing my feelings through a character or through a farce or whatever. So when I was at the end of my 3rd year of college, I had a 3.8 GPA and I had 3 weeks left of my last quarter of my 3rd year.
Okay.
And I was just so unhappy. I was like, I'm not doing what I want to be doing. I love to write, and I majored in journalism because I thought, like, oh, well, what kind of jobs can you get from writing? I really enjoyed creative writing, but I chose journalism because I was like, well, that's a job you could have from loving to write. But journalism is not creative. It's all about like interviewing people and being super in people's faces, totally the opposite of the type of person that I am. So I did well at it, but I wasn't loving it. And I just felt like I was missing my opportunity and I was missing my chance at my dream. And so I just decided one day, I drove up to Bellingham to see my boyfriend. And, out of the blue, I just said to him, I said, do you want to move to California with me? Like, I'm really unhappy and I want to go do this. Like, I want to go try this acting thing. Like, will you move with me? Mm-hmm. And he, was in love with me and he said yes. And I really wasn't in love with him, but was too scared to go by myself. So he said yes. And so
Does he know that you weren't in love with him? Because now he will.
We started,
This is Carl, right?
We need to be sensitive about his feelings.
Hey, listen, I didn't say. You just told.
But
you
so
just basically admitted that you didn't love
I
the guy.
think deep down, I don't think that I was.
Okay,
You know,
that's fair. It's college shit.
but
We
so
get
he
it.
said yes, and so we started making preparations. Like I shared a car with my sister at the time, and we'd been fighting about it so much because I was always driving up to Bellingham and here. So I paid her for my half of the car, and then I like sold anything I could sell. I had like a bunch of clothes. I sold a bunch of clothes. I sold a bunch of stuff. Like I was just trying to get as much money as I could.
Yep.
I went to, the career or the offices at UW, and I withdrew from my classes.
3 weeks
I had
left.
3 weeks left, and I had a 3.8 GPA. So that whole quarter, all the money that was paid for that quarter was lost because I withdrew. So I withdrew from my classes. I didn't tell anybody about any of this.
Couldn't you just finish the 3 weeks?
I
mean, it
was
3 fucking weeks.
I was in a moment of desperation. I was not happy with what I was doing. I felt like I was wasting money and time not pursuing what I felt was my destiny.
Okay.
So withdrew from my classes. I bought a car for $1,500 cash that had a bunch of dents in it, but like I think it'll make it down to California. And we left one morning, and I left a note for my best friend Alaina and my other roommate Lita. I drove by my parents' house. I left a note in their mailbox, and then I drove by my work, was a restaurant down in Shilshul, and I slid a note under the door for my boss at my work.
All in the early hours of the morning?
All in the early hours of the morning, stopped by all those places. This was all on our way.
Was that the first and the last time you ever got up that early? Because I cannot even imagine you being.
We had to do it before everyone woke up, so we couldn't this was a big life change,
you
right?
sleep till 11 if you.
So we couldn't do it. So the note basically said, did not tell anybody where I was or where I was going.
Yeah.
So now I can see as a parent, like just being absolutely traumatized.
Totally.
Or as a best friend.
Or as a best friend or anything. Like, that's
so
horrifying.
I basically was like, I'm so unhappy. I'm going to pursue my dreams. Like, don't worry about me. I'll reach out at some point.
It was like out of a movie.
And I just went. And then for the next 2 weeks, I was getting... Actually, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 23, everybody.
Yeah.
So I drove to California with no cell phone. So there was no way for anyone to get a hold of me.
Okay.
And I was too afraid to call anybody because I thought everybody was going to be so pissed. And we just went down there, and we
were pretty pissed.
We drove straight to Newport Beach, landed there. My boyfriend had a friend who lived down there, Brian Wilkins.
Brian Wilkins, yeah.
And he helped us get settled. We stayed with him the first night, and then the next day we drove to the beach and just applied to all the apartments. We applied to all the restaurants. I applied to 10 different restaurant jobs. Ended up getting 2 jobs down in Newport Beach. We ended up finding a little studio a block from the beach. It was $800 a month.
So small.
And we did it. We did the thing. And then I enrolled in school at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in West Hollywood.
There you go.
So, which was a commute from Newport. I mean, I should have probably picked somewhere a little closer to my school.
How far a commute?
Well, with LA traffic, it was tough. It was, with no traffic, it was about a 45-minute drive, but it took me about 90 minutes each way.
Ugh, come on.
And,
you had to go.
Story for another time. I did break down in South Central LA twice.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was.
But,
so how did you get your best friend Alaina to Newport?
So we're down there, and I'm working. My boyfriend gets a job also at a restaurant. We have a crazy experience at this one place we worked at. We were working for criminals. But anyway, that's a story for another podcast. We ended up breaking up, my boyfriend and I. And I, still being the introverted, shy, I was not ready for the culture of Southern California. In Seattle, I would get hit on once or twice a year. When I moved down there and I started working in the restaurants, it was 10 times a day, blatant, forceful hitting on, guys slapping my butt, it was total culture shock. I think the culture down there is much more confident, brazen, outgoing, materialistic. I'll say it. It's true. Orange County's materialistic. And me growing up kind of in Seattle and being really shy and all this. I wasn't prepared for all of that, right? So getting all this attention, whatever, the relationship ends up going south, and we ended up breaking up. And I didn't have anyone else down there. I had no other close friends. I had no one. I didn't want to leave because I was like so passionate about this acting school I was going to. So I called Alaina out of the blue. We hadn't spoken in probably 6 months.
Was it really 6 months?
We hadn't spoken in probably 6 months. But I was in crisis, and she was the first person I thought to call, even though we hadn't spoken in 6 months, you know? I pick up the phone. I'm like, it was like automatic. I'm like, I'm calling Alaina. Like, I need her. That was just the thought I remember feeling, like, I need her. Like, I need my best friend. I'm like almost going to cry even telling this story. So she picks up the phone, and I said, Alaina, you know, Carl and I broke up, and I need you to move down here and live with me. I just said it like that, like out of the blue. Like, I'm crying right now because it's like the nicest thing. And I mean, she was there for me when I really needed her. You know, she dropped everything for me, which I still can't believe that she did. But she did. So there was like this 10-second pause. I remember I like just called her and I was like, I need you. Like, I'm in crisis. I need you. And there was like 10 seconds of silence, and I was like, oh my God. And she said, okay. She just said, okay.
I said, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
And she literally 2 weeks later, she was living with a guy in Seattle. She broke up with her boyfriend.
I sold him my car. I quit my job. I moved.
She literally uprooted her whole life because I called her like, I need you.
After you bailed on her and hadn't talked to her for like
Dude,
6 months.
Yeah, and she was down there and she was there for me. And I will never forget that. I feel so fortunate to have a friend that would do that for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're welcome.
And so,
my parents had also just gotten divorced too, so I was just ready.
Yeah,
It
ready
was,
for a change of scenery.
It was just timing. It was impeccable.
And we had the Snapple Pact. I mean, come on.
The Snapple Pact.
The Snapple Pact. Yeah.
So now I've lived in Miami, and now I'm back in Seattle for several years, and
she
still lives. I brought her down there, and now she's still there. And now,
she introduced me to my husband the very night that I landed in California.
Yeah.
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 And
so
you've been with how long you been with your husband now?
We've been together 14, 15 years. I
and
think
you've been
now.
in Newport for how many years?
18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I only lived there 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
you dragged your friend down.
Yeah.
And she uproots everything.
And I lived there for like, I think it was like 10 months before she moved down. So
it was about a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, we only lived down there together for a year.
And then you decided the acting thing sucked.
And then I left. Well, I was going to auditions and there were 400 people there. You know what I mean? It was, I started really quickly getting the picture of like, oh, it's not about talent. It's about connections and who you know. Or who you fuck, right? Like, I'm sorry to say it rude. I'm sorry to say it rudely like that, but I definitely saw that because I got propositioned and stuff. You know, I mean, that's the world. It's not, I came from theater acting, right? That's what I did in college. And so going to like the big screen and all that stuff, I started seeing very quickly that, oh, they don't care about my talent. It's about who do you talk to get in and how do you get the role. It was all about connections and being shady. And so the chances of me actually making it like legitimately as an actress without having to sacrifice my morals, the chances of that were really low.
Yep.
So I said, I can't, I don't want to keep, I worked as a waitress and a bartender. I was like, I don't want to do this for another 10 years, just like hoping that I'm going to get lucky. Like I need to go finish school. I need to go figure it out. Right.
So you went back up to Seattle.
I moved back up to Seattle.
Bailed on Alaina, but she happened to meet the man.
But she was fine. But she was fine at that point.
Oh, I was fine.
She was fine at that point, and I moved back up, and I finished my last year at UW and with a 4.0, which I was ready to come back, so it was all good.
Whoop, whoop.
But yeah, she's been there. She's been there ever since that time.
Always
and
will
Alaina,
be.
you decided to stay in Newport because you found your dude and you got into your groove. You were, were you bartending or were you hairstyling then?
Oh no, I was I think still waiting tables then.
Okay.
But I worked all over town, so I was getting to know pretty much everyone in town and just kind of making home, you know.
Yeah, they're kind of like the
And
mayor
she-
and mayoress of Newport. Alaina and her husband. Is there a mayoress? Is she like the?
I don't know. Is that the
I don't know.
terminology?
I don't think so. I think I
know.
made it up.
She also went to school for graphic design, though.
That's right.
and
Yeah, I
worked
did.
As a graphic
I
designer
did.
for
Yeah,
a
I went to
little while.
school for 6 years for
Yeah.
graphic design.
Because you went to school for dancing,
Yeah,
ballet, classic ballet.
yeah.
Okay, and then you
Ballet and modern.
ballet and modern.
Ballet was really my forte.
What
though,
made
but
you step away from that? Just injury?
back?
Yeah.
Back pain. Yeah.
I'll tell you, my buddy, his wife was in P&B for years and years.
Oh, really?
And she was one of the oldest. I think by the time she retired, she was like 30, just broken.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
fucking broken.
There was a woman who lived in the same building as my grandparents, and she was an ex. I think actually P&B.
Yeah.
She might have been New York City, but I mean, you know, prima.
Yeah. Same with
And
this.
she was, I want to say she was in her 60s in a wheelchair because it just broke her. And my dad having, you know, bad history of, you know, just back issues. My back started to go out, and it was probably the hardest decision I ever made because it was my life. It was my
big part of
my
your
identity.
identity.
It
Yep.
was absolutely. It was like Heidi was saying with acting. It's your passion. It's your way of expressing your art and your soul. But you know, you have to make that decision to live life for a few years or you know, have more longevity. So
But Alaina's an artist, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
she's highly artistic in other areas too. She's an amazing painter and drawer, and hence like the graphic design degree.
Yeah.
I mean, just like dance, it's another art form,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So she definitely, and now she owns her own hair salon, and she's a hairstylist, which I think again is another very artistic.
which
I
suits
totally
me well. I think I
Yeah.
I loved designing. I loved the graphic design, but I mean nowadays it's just basically sitting at a computer all day, and it was boring. There was no interaction. There wasn't a lot of group creativity and not a lot of hands on. So
Yeah.
it didn't. I found out, you know, too late that it just wasn't kind of what drove me. Became very boring for me. So doing hair just really suits me now because I'm interacting with people and I'm using my hands and I'm getting to be creative and, you know, building relationships, and it's just I don't know.
And she's really good at it because I tried for a while to find like a person to cut my hair, but I never have and I'm not just saying this because it's you, like she literally cuts the only person that I've liked how she cuts my hair is Alaina. So now I only go to her, but the problem is now we don't see each other often enough. So my hair gets a little scraggly because I don't see her often enough. But no, she's really good at it. She's amazing at it. It's a really good fit for her. Yeah, she does a really good job.
It still tickles that same creative itch.
It does for now.
To a certain degree, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts, but you know, it does. For
But
sure.
it is interesting. It takes a level of, I think, self-awareness and maturity. I've figured that out myself with different things that I've gotten into, because I was a DJ forever. That was part of my identity, and fuck, man, it was hard to let that thing go. And
Absolutely.
there's still people in my life from way back in the day who remember me for that, but you just got to find those other things, and sometimes it's a combination of things. For me, it's like jiu-jitsu, it's also doing this podcast, it's also doing some writing and just other things to it's not really the what, it's the how it makes you feel and continuing to
Absolutely.
do it.
And just keeping boredom at bay. I mean, sometimes you got to
probably
put something
motherhood's
on
a
hold.
little bit of that too, right?
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit of creativity, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm the godmother of her son Joseph.
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
So that am I like
There's nobody else that would be.
Am I like a step something in that scenario? I don't get anything, do I?
You're like a pseudo godfather.
You're like the uncle, but he has a godfather
Like
too, which is
the cool
one
uncle.
of
He has
Joe's
two-
best friends.
two godfathers.
Two godfathers. That's right.
That's right.
One on the East Coast, one on the West.
Yeah.
But you're the very special uncle.
Yeah.
You're Tio.
Yeah, last time
Yeah,
I saw him, I bought
Tio.
him an ice cream cone as big as his head.
Which he proceeded to drop.
Did he drop it? He ate a lot of it.
He dropped it.
We do have the special distinction of Tia and Tia because of that's
do.
what
That's
my
true.
nieces call
true.
us because of the Spanish
Yeah.
thing. You know, I remember my sister actually seeing a picture of him with that ice cream cone. My sister was like, "Oh my God, how is he going to eat that whole? I can't believe Alaina bought that for him." And like, we're on vacation. He, you know, he didn't eat it all.
He didn't.
It was awesome though. That was good ice cream. I remember that.
It was
really
great ice cream. Is that
Yeah.
place still open?
No, so
It
they
was
were
a pop-up.
They were pop-up, so they're gone.
Right, I forgot.
They're
That was a
gone this
pop-up.
summer, but they do have a couple of shops here in Seattle. You know, but like everybody else, they're getting fucking pounded because
Man, it's
of
just
the COVID.
it's devastating. These small businesses are just getting
It kills me.
fucked.
These are
yeah.
good small businesses too, like small businesses that I'm super all about. So
Good one.
whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
How, Alaina? I know you have an early flight to catch. How are you doing on time?
Oh, I'm good. I'm having fun.
Oh, you're having fun. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure.
Cheers.
See, fun overtakes.
So, yeah,
Tiredness.
Well, I think that's a theme with Alaina anyway, right? Like she's a fun whore.
You're getting to know me, Phil.
Yeah.
Don't. There's that. You be careful what you say
What
about. Did you just call her a whore?
No, fun
Oh,
whore.
fun whore.
Oh,
Fun whore.
Oh my God, sorry.
No, she's just like a slut for fun. I am
Oh, yeah,
kind of that
got
way
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. I don't like to use the word FOMO, but
See, I'm protective.
sometimes it applies.
Yeah.
Because I just, you know,
Yeah.
life
It's
is
better.
just too short. You just
Yeah.
gotta live it up.
And in the
My
moment,
whole life I've been like that.
totally. In the moment, you're thinking, "Oh, it'd be nice to get another 2 hours of sleep," but then,
Yeah.
like, what do you miss?
Right.
You can miss the best night.
And
of-
how much time
I mean,
do I
who
get with
knows?
you
I might
guys?
break out the DMT. I don't know what's gonna happen
Oh,
here.
hell yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. This could get real.
Sorry,
weird
Mom, if you hear this.
real quick.
Kind of do this kind of stuff sometimes.
We won't break out the
You know
DMT
what?
on video,
No, please.
but just know, listeners, there may be some DMT later. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Might do another podcast later.
Later.
Check back on
The
that.
only problem with DMT that I've learned is I really like I very much like being able to be verbally accurate and fluid, and after that I'm just like ugh. I can't, like, there's so much going on in my head, and I'm like recovering from this crazy thing, and I can't really be very descriptive. It's really hard for me to talk after.
I'd like to have this conversation
Yeah,
later.
so- yeah, okay.
Because
She's fascinating.
I have questions.
Yeah, but that all fades anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like we got a little through childhood. I see where you guys bonded, and I see, you know, that obviously you guys got a lot of history, a lot of stories, a lot of good times, some bad times.
This is just like barely touching the surface too, which
no.
which is great. I mean, it's just continued to be such a flourishing relationship between us. I mean, like Heidi said, when she moved to California, we didn't talk for 6 months, which I admit I was a little bitter about, but at the same time, we do have that strong of a relationship where we can go a long period of time.
Well, we pick up where we left off,
and we pick up where we left off, and it doesn't affect our relationship. There's no hostility.
And
There's
it's
no
right, and-
resentment. We just love each other like so wholeheartedly.
It's like family, right? Like it would be with
Yeah.
family. Like it is with my cousins.
Family's worse. I think
It's
truly
chosen
is a
family.
unique. Yeah,
which
it's
is-
chosen
which is
family.
the best.
But
kind.
I actually, I think because of my shyness and how introverted I was, I always struggled with keeping in touch with people, reaching out to people. Like that was always something that like I struggled with, and it wasn't because I didn't think about those people. It was because I like got nervous to like read. Like I don't know. It was part of my whole introverted shyness, and as I've gotten older, I've learned like how important it is to keep those relationships, and I've gotten like so much better about it. That's the whole part of living and learning, right? Like I definitely have evolved, and I've learned that, you know, it's really important to, when you think about somebody, to tell them that you're thinking about them, you know, to reach out to people, to keep those connections. And it's something that I definitely was not very good at in my earlier days. And I feel like I'm improving every day at it.
Well,
and I'm better at it.
there's a couple things I want to unpack there. The first thing is, I think when people, and I'm speaking from experience, when people don't feel like they're doing great, and maybe mine's a little more magnified from my own childhood issues, but when people don't feel like their life's going smooth, or they're doing great, or they're proud of what's happening, they isolate a lot of times, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's like the exact wrong move. So that's like that's we should all take that instinct and flush it down the toilet, because that's a horrible way to behave. And I've done it, and I still do it sometimes. I think the other thing that I've learned about this whole coronavirus thing and COVID thing is literally now, because I can be a kind of a lazy friend from connecting and stuff. And I know a lot of people. So
I think we're all guilty of
yeah,
that.
we're all guilty. But I think now what I've realized with the coronavirus, when I think of somebody, I'll send them at least a text, or I'll give them a call, or I'll shoot them an email, or I'll hit them up somewhere, somehow, just let them know I'm thinking of them, bust their balls, do whatever. And I didn't do that before. I realized, like, before we got into this isolation mode, which has been super strange and a lot of learning. So I don't know if you guys have been through kind of the same thought process. And then the third thing I would say is, I think you can really separate your friends, not to oversimplify, but those that get butt hurt and those that don't. And I think what we find as we get older, the ones that get butt hurt, they start kind of getting filtered out of our lives, because who's got fucking time for that? Like,
right.
I don't reach out to you because I'm afraid you're going to get butt hurt. I reach out to you because I like you and you offer something and we get along and there's chemistry and whatever it is. Right. But I think I spent too much of my time trying to keep people from getting butt hurt from,
It's so true. I'll give a quick example of, it's not related to Alaina, but in the sense of exactly like what Alaina was saying of like, so much time can go by. Yeah. But when you see each other, it's like nothing happened. Hard feelings are erased away. You know, I mean, one of my good friends was just diagnosed with breast cancer. Someone who I haven't been in regular contact with, who I haven't done a good job of keeping close tabs with. But I got this news and I went to her first chemo session with her the other day, and I sat with her and we talked nonstop, and it was like, no time had passed. It was like we fell right back in, and there were no hard feelings of like, oh, I haven't reached out, or I haven't done this. It was like none of that mattered.
You're just happy. You're just happy to be together.
We're just happy to be together. I'm just happy to see her, and I just wanted her to know that I'm there for her. And it's the same with like my cousins in Peru. Yeah. My mom's from South America, and I have lots of cousins that live in different countries. And it was just my cousin Vanessa, who Alaina actually knows. Vanessa, it was her birthday just recently, and I sent her a birthday message, and I sent her a picture from when I visited her in Barcelona, like 8 years ago, and she wrote back just the sweetest message, just saying, like, oh my gosh, I remember that trip so fondly. I loved the time I spent with you. When we see each other again, it'll be like no time has passed. Yeah. And she said it because it's true. You know, we don't talk often, but it's those types of connections, and it's those. I've never had a lot of friends, but the friends I do have are like family to me. Like they're my friends. Like I'm Alaina and my sister were always much more social. They had a larger group of friends. Yep. I always just had a few, but I knew that there were people that I could trust. Like and that would be there for me. So, I don't know.
Also,
this is what I was saying happens. Yeah. You start to hear my theories and my philosophies.
The philisms.
My philisms.
I love them. You really do need to write a book. But I wanted to touch on your second point, because just losing a close friend recently, it does make you realize like how short life can be, you know, and it just reminded me of how important it is just to reach out, whether it's just a simple text message, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that it's times like those to actually remind you of the importance of reaching out to those that you love and care about, you know, because.
But at least that's one positive that can come up.
But and that's all you can do. All you can do is
that's a positive.
Yeah, we're
to find the positive, and
we're continually
heartbreaks
bombarded with all this information, and everybody's telling us we need to shut down, we need to log off, and to a certain degree, I totally agree with that. But I do think we have more ability to reach out and to connect with people than we ever have before.
I can't tell you how many people that I contacted during the whole shutdown that I hadn't talked to in a long time because I had time. I wasn't working, right? And I just you're thinking so much more about outside of your immediate life. You know,
you get to step back.
You can step. It was a chance to step back, which I'm really grateful for just that time. I mean, not only spending like, you know, some solid time with my family, but just, I mean, even just sitting back and have a couple of drinks and reminiscing about things that you haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I personally reached out to a lot of people. I mean, even like my parents' family friends.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Melody and Dale, but I talked to Melody the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't talked to her since I was a teenager.
And it feels good, right?
I felt great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. And she even texted me after. She's like, I can't even believe we just did that. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
And this is the shit. So I think when we...
This is the shit.
This is the shit. When we walk away from this fucking ridiculous time, this ridiculous point in history that who knows how it's going to end. We could all be dead in 2 months. I don't know what's
Fucking
going
A,
to
man.
happen. But...
We got to take something from it.
Yeah, you got to take something
We
from
do.
it. And
You
that's
gotta
stepping
learn.
back. It's recalibrating. It's reconnecting. It's using technology to your advantage, especially in this scenario where we can't necessarily be face to face and always travel and things like that. And like, who gives a fuck about productivity? Let's everybody lower their productivity 10% and connect, 20% more.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Amen to that.
I feel like that's hopefully that's where a lot of folks are going, whether it's, we had our friend Wayne on who, he just was talking about how much he's reconnected with his family and just old friends. And I think that's been a theme with the people that I like and the people that I care about. A lot of them have the same story, just reaching back out to people and reconnecting, and no guilt, no shame, no harm. Like, everybody's fucking busy and this is an opportunity.
Right. I mean, the amount of Zoom meetings we had.
Yeah.
I mean, even like midnight Zoom meetings. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I did it with my family.
Yeah.
I have a cousin in Germany that we were, talking to. It really was. I feel like, I've been trying to just look positively at the whole situation. And I feel like it's almost been like a reset for a lot of people.
Agreed.
And I think if you don't look at the positives that have come from it, then you're a fool.
I think it's been making people really think about what's truly important.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
I agree. 100%.
I think in normal life we can easily be distracted and spend energy and time on things that in the grand scheme of things really don't matter all that much.
I agree. And I think what would be interesting are the people that are really, really, like, I know a lot of hard chargers dedicated to work. I mean, I work at Amazon, for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
It's kind of a young man's game. And if your identity, as we were talking about identity earlier, if your identity is so tied to work, for instance, producing, creating, doing this thing at work, and then all of a sudden work's not there
It's
anymore.
not there. Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? So I bet not only are these people having this, people like us who are having this awareness about reconnecting and taking a step back, but I think there's a whole contingent of people that maybe haven't ever connected in their adult life, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? What am I here for if I'm not doing this thing that I thought I was all about?
Yeah, it's like a reality check.
So
big time.
I think it's pushing people in some very uncomfortable yet very healthy ways.
Absolutely. It's challenging.
But I also want to party with people, and I miss hanging out and giving people
I
hugs.
miss
and
seeing people
I miss
face to
the
face.
fuck out of jiu-jitsu.
You guys can come party with me.
We will come party with you.
Well, and then,
I like to party.
I'm lucky enough to,
Live with me.
but like what you were saying about like, sure, Phil. No, I am. I'm lucky. You're a wonderful husband.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
But
God.
but I think you were saying how all of a sudden work's not there. Like for me, my work, I love my work, and so even
I
when
do
like
too.
even when
I
like
missed
my
it.
work, like even if I'm not like able to be paid for my work, I'm still doing that work because it's something that
You're passionate
has
about.
changed my life and that I'm truly passionate about. So I'm in one of the lucky minority there where I'd be doing my work even if I wasn't being paid for it.
Shit, I was doing patio cuts.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was awesome. I mean, we look at the beach, I had a cooler full of beer.
Cutting
Guys
people's
were
hairs.
coming from the neighborhood, just like sitting down in my chair.
There you go. Yeah.
Fresh cuts.
Fun shit.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good transition point for us. So if we think about, like, let's assume the world will somehow, some way normalize to a certain degree that at least feels kind of normal.
It was.
What's the future for you guys? What do you think? And you don't have to have an answer, but I'm just always curious, like, where people are thinking ahead, Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Alaina, for instance, do you want to stay in California? Do you want to continue to cut hair? Is there something else on the horizon you're working on?
You know, I'm not sure about the whole staying in California. I think California's just changed a lot, especially the town I'm in. It's a beautiful place, and we've definitely like built a foundation there, but it's changing a lot. It's really becoming, I mean, it is materialistic, and I think it doesn't quite match my mentality.
I'm going to stop you there for a sec. Did I ever tell you the story about when I went with my friend Molly in Newport and we did a bar class? She dragged me into a bar class.
I was with you guys.
No. I went to one before that.
Bar
Oh, you
class?
went to two.
I went to two.
What does that
The first
mean?
one,
Pure bar,
the
where exercise.
Oh.
So I go in. I don't even know what this fucking thing is. And my friend Molly, she knows I'm always down, so she especially if it's like exercise.
So the second time you went with me, you went voluntarily.
I went, well, not voluntarily. Yeah, you met Molly at the racetrack.
Yeah,
so
that was a good day.
Molly takes me to a bar class. I have no idea what it is. She says it's a really hard workout, blah, blah, blah. You're talking about sort of materialistic and kind of surface level and things that. It is nothing but like big fake tits and blonde hair and
dish lips.
Yes, swollen lips and like Brazilian butts and like
really tight faces.
Yes, and I'm like the sweaty, awkward like ogre in the fucking bar.
Which was exactly how it was the second time we went with Molly. So this is before Phil and I were together, where he goes and visits his friend Molly, and then years later we go again to visit Molly. Now we're together. We're going to visit Alaina and Molly, and then Phil again goes with Molly and myself this time to the bar class.
I'll never go to another bar class.
He did voluntarily go a second time.
Anyway, I didn't mean to sidetrack that, but I had to fill it in because I do have some context of what sort of, I know what you mean.
It is also Newport Beach. I mean, it's
a lot of money.
Part of the reason why
it's
part of the reason I had to get out of there.
I get it.
It was too much for me.
I had just built such a foundation of friends. I mean, and the ironic thing is 98% of the friends that I have in Newport are not from there.
Right.
And the people that I know that are from there are just not typical, you know. Which is sad to say, and I apologize to all the natives.
Listen, man.
You know, I coming from a place like Seattle that's just so colorful and diverse, and you know, there's just so much culture here.
But we got our own deficiencies here.
Well, absolutely, and so does it everywhere. But I don't know. It's becoming something different, and you know, my husband and I talked a lot about exploring elsewhere and just seeing. You know, maybe there's another adventure for us out there. It's hard for us to leave though, because
for sure
we do build these relationships, and you guys
know a lot of people out there.
We know everybody. I mean, we've both worked and lived in that town for decades, and you know, we've built a foundation. So it's hard to leave those ties, but at the same time, becoming parents and you know, it changes your aspect on things too. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see where we end up.
Sounds like you're open.
We're exploring other ideas. That's
and the nice thing is with hairstylists, you can do pretty well, right?
I can. It's what
work.
I do is basically about building a clientele, and it takes a long time. But you know, if I'm willing to go elsewhere if it's worth it.
It's a transferable skill though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So that I get it. You're open to whatever the universe throws at you.
Yeah,
You guys may or may not stay there. It is nice having some good friends down in Newport because it is a nice place to visit. I don't know if I can handle living there, but you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't at this point.
It might be a little rough for me too.
No, I don't. You know, it's funny because if I were to move there from somewhere else, I don't think I could handle it either. I think it's just because I've been there. I'm handling it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think there's another place out there.
That come back to Seattle, girl.
Better. Well,
but then again, who knows if we'll be in Seattle for how long?
Yeah.
I mean, we're
the East Coast might be where it's at.
Yeah, I definitely see myself living somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm warm-blooded.
You're just gonna kind of take off, leave.
Heidi likes to just sit and the
Love
deep sun.
Heidi,
the
I
sun
don't
for
want
hours.
that. I don't want that one morning when Heidi decides to get up before 6 and just find a note that she took off to Australia.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not as tied to places though. Like I don't form as many ties as Alaina,
You
right?
can't
So
because
I am not as tied to
Cash.
places. I am not
Cash
as
can't travel.
Cash can't
Cash
travel.
can't travel to
So
Australia.
you guys are homebound for
well, we
good
could
14
move
years.
to a different state in the U.S. that we could drive
That's
to,
true.
but yeah, I'm not afraid of moving, and I am not afraid of changing up. I really kind of thrive off of fear and like excitement of
I have
like
to pee
something
again.
of something new.
It's all right. Go do it. Go do it, Alaina.
Sorry, guys.
But I thrive off of that kind of fear and excitement of the unknown and
Yeah.
like experiencing a new thing. Like I get really excited to like start anew and figure it out again. So I definitely see myself living somewhere else that is warm. I will not live. She's showing us her butt.
No, she was showing us the technique.
The technique.
The lean over the
Oh,
railing.
there you go. I love it.
The P technique, the incognito technique.
Yeah, for me, I would need my husband. I would need my buddy here, my big buddy
Yep.
Cassius.
He would be happy.
But
to go
I would
wherever.
I know that I would be happier in a place with a warmer climate.
I am with you.
And then as far as, what I do, I definitely see more getting back to my more creative roots
Yeah.
and focusing more time on art. And I would love to act again, even if it's community theater.
I think community theater would be badass for you.
I don't care if I'm paid. I love acting. It's a passion of mine, which I would love to do it again at some point. But it's such a huge time commitment for no pay. So it would have to be the right time and place for that. But
I have a question. On that. So community theater, one of the things that I always thought about actors and actresses, especially those of the married sort. In fact, we just watched that series, right? Which was Top of the Lake.
yeah.
Where she has some pretty intense like lovemaking scenes with the
Yeah.
other lead dude. And I just wonder, A, how you would feel about like even like in a community theater where you're supposed to like pseudo make out with the leading man.
In theater, you never really like make out. There's no
Okay.
like true sex scenes. In theater on stage,
It's like a big
it's very rare that you actually have
you're not gonna
like
go stick
a
your tongue down some
full-
other dude's throat.
You don't have to like be. It's very rare that you've had to do that. I had to kiss somebody once in all the years of theater I did. I
Now
had
is
to
this
kiss
is
somebody
this
on
is this
stage.
something that we would need to negotiate? Because I don't know where I'd be at on that because I'm a very nice guy, but there's also violence that is very close to the surface for me that I hide.
Are you talking about going back to acting?
I would hope that you would understand.
I would totally understand.
that I do not feel romantic towards these fellow actors, but I'm doing my job and I'm
Are we
doing
really
my
having this
art.
discussion?
Well, what we were wondering because she was talking
now
about maybe,
everybody's realizing that how jealous my husband
Oh
is.
yeah.
He's not.
I can
Are
be
you
jealous.
really?
I keep it in check very
He
much
really
so.
is.
I'm very. How about
He is
this?
jealous.
I pay a lot of attention. I pay very close attention to a room and to energy and to people and to intentions, right? And I pick up on a lot, and that's always how I've been. And so, yes, part of it's jealous, and that's totally inexcusable. And I've worked through it, and I think I'm pretty decent in how
Yeah.
little that manifests. But part of it is also, I see you, motherfucker, and I know what you're thinking, and I know what ideas are bouncing around in your head. So I'm one step ahead. So
Yeah.
I just, even if it's not an intention of Heidi's, like
You are good at staying one step ahead, though.
I try
Yeah,
to.
he's
yeah.
very intuitive. He can read people well.
I like that about you.
Yeah, but
But it's exhausting.
I can imagine.
times.
that would all come down to like, I hope you trust me.
Yes,
And that's what it should
I
really
trust you,
matter.
but I don't
is-
trust anybody else.
I'm not a very jealous person, nor is my husband, which
Yeah.
is why we work well together. I think just both being lifetime bartenders,
You
have
gotta-
seen
You've seen it all.
it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it's like to be hit on. He knows what it's like to be hit on. We know what it's like to see each other get hit on and whatever, what have you. But I just have never really had that nature,
Yeah.
but I've felt it a few times.
Yeah.
Even with Heidi, like friendships,
Oh, yeah.
like
That can be a thing,
and
too.
that's a tough thing to swallow, that feeling.
Like you got jealous of a relationship she may have had with another friend.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. My boy.
Because it's
yeah.
that feeling of being threatened.
Yeah.
Of your position, like Cassius, basically. Apparently, he's taken over my
Potentially, yeah.
position as BFF.
Well, and
But yeah, she was jealous of Cassius because I called him my best
I
friend.
absolutely was. Like, it was kind of like heart shedding. It was like, kind of like a dagger.
But he's a dog.
well, I really
I know.
here's
Just
a-
here's the words come out of your mouth. I've actually
You
never heard
are
those words
always-
come out of your
You
mouth.
will always be my best friend. Alaina, you know you're
But
number
here's
one.
here's a bit of a philism that I think a lot about. Alaina just spit wine through her nose.
I have
like
to
the
pee
second-
now, too.
second time today.
Everybody's peeing. I know. Alaina, I gotta pee.
And a bit of a philism that I can't take credit for this, so I don't even know if I'd term it that, but I think about this a lot. Like when we, for instance, you get jealous of a friendship that Heidi may have with somebody else, or my buddy Ben, who does the co-hosting with me normally.
Is that the hot guy with the tattoos?
Yeah, that's my boy Ben.
Yeah, he's hot.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Hey, Ben.
We miss Ben. We miss you, Ben. Ben's freshly engaged, so he's
Ooh,
yeah.
good.
Congratulations,
Congrats, Ben.
and Michelle.
And Michelle.
They just bought a house, moved into Tacoma, so he's
No
moving
way.
things and getting. So we might do a studio out there too. But
Cool.
Ben told me, and I didn't know Ben was like a jealous guy, but he told me he had some friend jealousy over text because I was talking about my buddy Max, and I speak very highly of Max, who I had also brought on the podcast.
Right. Okay.
And after we did the podcast with Max, Ben like copped to it. He said, "Dude, I didn't know what you thought was so special about this guy. He just seemed like
Aw.
and he was like a little bummed out
Right.
until he met him, and then he's like, "Oh,
Oh,
dude, I get it. This
Yeah.
guy's a fucking badass. Like,
I wanna
no
be
wonder,
homies.
yeah, no wonder.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna be my homie." So
Yeah.
it was funny. You just don't even realize like how often we get jealous, and I think part of it is really. Yes, it's questioning sort of your status with that person, but it also hits that really deep, dark thing that none of us want to look at, which is, am I good enough? Am I worthy?
Right.
Do I deserve it?
Right.
You know,
What am I not fulfilling for you that this person is?
Exactly. What am I missing? How am
Yeah.
I not enough for you? Right. So,
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, and I think that touches on, I mean, that's something that I've noticed about just even like being in a relationship, being married, your husband, your wife, they meet a certain fulfillment within you.
Yeah.
And then, you have friends that meet that other sort of fulfillment that you can't necessarily get from your partner, wife, husband. Like a woman has her girlfriends. I have
yes.
a gay guy that, he's like my girlfriend / guy friend that just, I don't know. Like,
Did I ever
know
send
what
you
I
the
mean?
video? Yes. Did I ever send you the video of Desire, the lady from Denmark? Oh, she's fucking brilliant.
I don't think
Heidi
so.
will remember her name, but I'll let you watch it and we can discuss it because
Okay.
she specifically talks about what you're talking about. And she like sort of tries to nail it down in history. When did it become a thing where your husband had to be your best friend, your lover, your confidant,
Right.
like all these things? She said in history, it's not always
It's
been like
almost-
that. Heidi, who is that blonde lady? The Esther, the lady who did the Desire YouTube video that we watched? Oh, anyway, she's not.
It's almost
talking.
too much expectations
Yeah.
from one person.
That was her whole
and I
point.
think it should be a balance
Esther Perel.
of relationships,
Esther Perel is her name. I'll send you the link. But if for anybody listening out there, like check out her video on Desire. It will hit home, especially if
Yeah,
you're
I'd love
married
to
or in a
check that
relationship.
out.
She really she nails
Oh
it.
yeah, she was amazing.
And like Heidi and I have something special that, we fulfill each other in that certain piece of our life. And it's just, I don't know. Life is a balance and it shouldn't be held up to one person. And I think
No.
that's where, jealousy interferes because you can't expect one person to get everything out of you that they need. I mean, we're a society of people for a reason. You know what I mean? We're not.
Yeah, and I think the difference with relationships is like I definitely don't feel any sort of jealousy with Phil, like going to jujitsu or hanging out with his friends. Like I want him to like have those things he's passionate about because I know it makes him a better partner to me
Absolutely.
when he comes home
It
from
does.
it
makes him a
because
stronger person.
because he comes home fulfilled and happy and like excited and like
Or just
excited
less
to
of a dick.
excited to see me, like ready to
Totally.
to
Maybe.
give me his attention and his time. And so I definitely support, his time with his friends, his jujitsu, his martial arts, which is super important to him. But I think with a couple, like I would not support him making out with another woman.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
It's
Was
not
that
an option.
Oh, okay.
So like that's the whole thing, and I think he also supports me doing like if I want to
sure.
do my art one night, or if I want to go hang out with my girlfriend, or I want to go to the art museum or something.
Go do
like
it.
whatever it is that I want to do. Like he supports that stuff, but he would definitely not support me making out with another man.
Well, that's where I was going with the theater stuff. That's what I was trying to figure out. I was working through it.
It's different with like a relationship. Like in that sense, it's like we're not jealous of like the time with other people or activities, but it's the romantic like involvement with those others that is just not cool. Not okay.
Or the potential. Well, there's been no romance. It's the potential. I think that
and I can actually see that his jealousy really truly is coming through now because I mentioned in like way in the future maybe doing community theater, and the first thing he thought of was like
making out with other dudes.
What if she kisses another guy when she's in community?
I had to go there.
Like,
what about another girl?
He bypassed the whole thing of like, oh wow, yeah, that'd be cool. My wife would like find her love again, and she'd do community theater. No, his first thought was like, that means she might kiss another dude or like have to flirt with one.
That's what I'm saying. That's where my dark, violent caveman brain goes.
But that's
nothing wrong with it.
But I love you, and I feel flattered that you feel jealous in that way, but you have to just let that go.
It's getting sappy.
Then it's getting sappy.
Yeah,
just gotta let it
sappy.
go.
It's because she had a bit of that,
No, and don't.
Raspberry beret.
Anyway, okay, so I think so we kind of sidetracked with you, Heidi, but for your future, maybe living in another state. Maybe doing some more.
I think living in another
country would be dope.
But living in another country, I would like to live somewhere warm.
Alaina, have you been to Australia? Or
we've always talked about New Zealand and Australia, but then I also feel I want to draw and paint. I hope that 10 years from now I have a lot of work like under my belt. I've just started drawing again. Since the whole COVID thing, which is one benefit of the COVID thing, but
for sure.
I started off super strong and I was doing it every day, and then work got busier as things started opening up. I did a nutrition thing with my boss from the yoga studio I work at, and I was too busy, so I stopped drawing all the time. But I need to do it again.
I agree.
Why are you laughing at me? She's distracting me. Do I sound stupid right now?
No.
Okay. Why are you laughing?
I want to see you guys fight. Have you guys ever gotten into a?
She's making me feel self-conscious.
What
am I
saying? Have you ever gotten into a physical altercation?
You're so cute.
Listen,
your little tangents.
Listen, guys, if you're not watching the video right now, get on the video because I want to see these girls fight. It might be a pillow fight. No. It might be fisticuffs.
She's making me feel like I'm like 3 years old or something.
No.
What did I do?
She's finding you endearing.
Heidi, I'm loving you.
A lot of times Alaina finds you endearing, and I think you take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But that was your question, right?
Sometimes she does find you ridiculous.
It was your question, like what I see in my future.
Yes.
I hope that for my future.
Yeah.
I just need to like motivate myself to do it. Like I'm drawing now. I would like to like get into like color and like paints and things and stuff.
Cool.
So I just want to keep that momentum.
We
going.
got, one other thing I did during quarantine, Alaina, is I got about 3/4 of the way through a children's book about cash. And I haven't finished it yet, but I like...
You're writing it?
Writing it, yeah.
And I'm going to illustrate it.
And Heidi's going to illustrate it. So that was another cool thing I did.
Do you know what's funny? Is my mom is writing a children's book right now, too. And I started to illustrate it.
Do you know who could get in on this?
Who?
Who would be so... My mom.
I'd love it. Yeah.
My mom has written children. My mom loves to write, and she was a children's librarian for so many years. She would know exactly what we needed. Okay. We should have her... We should get a draft and then have her edit it. She's good at editing, actually. We're onto something.
We're onto something. Anyway, yeah, it's like one part, it's sad, one part happy, one part about like misperceptions about how things look.
No, you do it.
I already did.
You did.
Oh.
What do you think I started laughing?
Oh, now I understand. See, if I would have just known that before, everything would have been fine.
Oh, are we giggling because there's a little break?
That's why she was just laughing at me.
There's a little bit of cannabis
so
now that's happening.
Well,
now I'm not as
cannabis, but she's just so fucking cute.
She is cute. You both are cute.
But I just love her.
I know, we do.
Do you know, it's so fun because sometimes I just look at her and I just...
No, because I will afterwards.
I can still see her as this just this little girl who was like my little soulmate.
Yeah.
So young in my life, like, you know.
I like just like the girl Heidi, like from the book. I had the black bangs, short black hair, like black. My hair was super black.
Yeah.
Bangs and
until
black hair.
I got my hands on
Till you
it.
got
Well,
it.
now
looks good.
now look at the
It's a
caramel
little wavy.
waves.
Yeah, fellas, you're missing out. If you're just listening to this, you're missing out on this whole like. There's a lot to look at in this one. So
We ran out of wine now.
Yeah. Well, I almost feel like we should wrap this
it up.
thing. So let's wrap it. But I was gonna give you
Wrap it up.
listen.
Yeah,
little goofy.
A little
yeah,
different,
it's
but
good,
one,
yeah.
I'd say, this is your opportunity. If there's anything else you'd like to leave folks with, or, maybe future generations with, any kind of advice, any thoughts, any just observations. And if not, that's totally cool. But I'd just like to give everybody like a last opportunity to say something. Like, this is your time. You can get on your soapbox. You can do whatever you want or not.
Okay.
So I'll look to you first, Alaina.
Yeah, I want to go first anyways.
Oh, good. You got something.
My big thing right now, well, for the rest of my life, I just want everyone to be kind to one another and look
Amen.
out for each other. And I mean, just this whole time we're going through, it's such a reality check of how hard it is to unite. And it just drives me crazy. I want people to unite and look at each other and smile and wave and just have a sense of community. Just be kind. It's just as easy as a smile, and
Just be kind.
yeah.
I will add to that by saying to focus on the good, like focus on the things you do have, focus on the relationship, focus on the positives in your life, not the negatives.
Yeah.
Even if things are
Great.
hard, right? Even if things are hard.
Yeah, there's still beauty,
on
there's
the,
still
focus on
things.
the positives.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will just say flat out, I am so lucky. I feel so grateful. Through all of this COVID, I have had my husband who still has his job. I've still been able to work a little bit through Zoom. I have a home.
Your
I'm
health
in
and
a
your
loving
family.
environment. I'm safe.
Kind of hot.
I have a lot of gratitude.
I'm sorry, that was unfair, but true. That whole side of the couch is hot. This side not so much. It's like awkward, sort of masculine,
No,
kind
my baby's
of muscly and
my
sweaty.
My baby's so cute. But I'm very grateful. I feel so lucky. I'm so grateful for my friends, for my husband, for my dog, like that I'm sitting here with my best friend.
Yeah.
We've all been okay through this. There's a lot of people who've had a lot less, and it's easy to say from someone who's has a lot more than others to say, oh, just focus on the good things. But truly, like, you have to focus on what you have and focus on the good, because there's always some little light there shining that,
Agreed.
right?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
So be kind. Be kind. Focus on the good things. And if you don't think you have good things, you got to look closer, because you
Yes,
definitely do.
you
Absolutely.
do.
And we can all be fucking kinder.
And there's people there that, like, care about you.
That's true. That's true.
There's always someone that cares about you.
Well, let's wrap it.
Wrap
Friction
it
and
up.
Spoke, the estrogen edition.
I don't like that name.
I don't like it either. I'll think of another one. I don't
What?
know. Maybe I'll go with that one.
Estrogen sounds like
What?
homely and
No,
and
no, estrogen's that's what you guys.
Yeah, I gotta go with Heidi on this one.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry.
Well,
I
never
think
mind.
we need a sexier name than estrogen.
I will find a sexier. I'll think of a sexier name for this one.
You sexy motherfucker.
Well, with that, I'm gonna log it out. All right. So hang tight. Let me cue this.
Queued up.